NBC delivers a massive W and NASCAR hands out another big penalty. This one impacts the Xfinity Series playoff picture. How's it going, y'all? My name is Eric. Welcome to Out of the Groove. The entire world is waiting on the appeal panel's decision on Austin Dillon. That ruling is expected by the end of the workday today, but I wanted to take this extra time to address a couple other stories. Usually when someone asks me, hey, do you want the good news or the bad news first? I say get the bad news out of the way, but we're going to do the opposite. We're going to start with the good news because this W is way too huge to ignore. NBC just announced that they will not show any full-screen commercials during green flag action at Daytona, Atlanta, and Talladega this fall. Any commercial breaks during green flag action will be side by side, so fans watching at home will not miss a minute of the on-track racing action. This is huge, and this is exactly what I've been waiting for. I have been begging the networks to evolve. NBC being willing to at least try this is oh so refreshing. Audiences today have been conditioned to skip through ads. So much content is available on demand at all times that if you cut away from the action for too long, many people are just going to tune you out. They're going to go do something else. They're going to click away. I truly believe at least part of Formula One's rise in America is that the US broadcasts are commercial free. Young people are used to being in control of how many advertisements they see. So this is a brilliant move by NBC. I hope it works. I hope they still see a strong return on their investment. My theory all along is that side-by-side commercials are actually more valuable to advertisers than full screen because when a full screen ad comes on my TV, I leave the room. I go get something to drink. I go to the bathroom. But if they're still side by side, sure, my whole attention isn't on the commercial, but at least I'm still sitting watching the screen. That's been my theory at least for years. I hope this experiment by NBC proves my theory right, and then Fox and Amazon, Turner, the CW follow suit. It's only for 3 races, again, Daytona this weekend, then Atlanta, Talladega, but those are 3 races where fans are often edge of their seat, not wanting to miss a second. Huge W, double thumbs up all around for NBC for trying this. That's not the only big change coming to NASCAR on NBC this weekend. Leigh Diffey will take over play-by-play duties in the NASCAR Cup Series booth this Saturday night. This has been reported on for months, but finally NBC is shaking things up. Rick Allen may have just called his final NASCAR Cup Series race, at least for NBC. He instead will call the Xfinity Series races the remainder of this season, while Leigh Diffey, who just got done calling the Olympics, he's obviously well known for his work with IndyCar, he will now take over Cup Series play-by-play duties for the remainder of 2024. I like Leigh, like I said, he brought the action during the Olympics. He's a true professional. I think he will be good. Rick Allen grew on me over the years. Back in 2015, when NBC first picked up the NASCAR rights once again, I wasn't so sure. Rick Allen's got that great TV voice, but, he'd stumble over his words, mix up names, little things. He still does that from time to time, but he's had his fair share of great calls. He has that great voice. He's got good chemistry, I think, with Jeff Burton, Steve Letarte. But NBC making this move now, I guess, makes sense because with 3 new broadcast partners joining the NASCAR world next season, I think we'll see the talent lineup shuffle quite a bit. Dale Jr. obviously is already out of NBC. He's joining TNT and Amazon. Rumors that Steve Letarte could join him. What about Rick Allen? Could Rick Allen join Dale Earnhardt Jr.? They worked together for several years. I think it's absolutely possible that Rick Allen could again call Cup races next year just for a different network. But he is going to have some steep competition. As we've discussed earlier this summer, Sports Business Journal reported that ESPN's Marty Smith has had talks with both Warner Brothers and Amazon about joining the booth. He's good buddies with Dale Earnhardt Jr. And someone on Reddit found this the other day, but Alan Bestwick apparently follows the Prime Sports Instagram account. That could be absolutely nothing, or it could be something. I would love to hear Alan Bestwick calling Cup races once again. With Dale Earnhardt Jr. by his side, in the words of Martin Scorsese, this is absolute cinema. I've asked y'all this in the past, I know, but I do want to hear again. What would be your dream broadcast booth for Prime, for TNT, but some big changes coming to the NBC broadcast this weekend at Daytona. So I started off with mostly the good news. I guess the Diffey, Rick Allen news is sort of mixed, depending on whose camp you're in. Let's finish with the bad news, especially if you're a Parker Kligerman fan, because today NASCAR dropped the hammer. They handed the Big Machine Racing number 48 Xfinity Series team an L1 penalty for illegal spoiler modifications found pre-race at Michigan. As a result, Kligerman has been docked 20 driver owner points. He's also been docked 5 playoff points should he qualify for the playoffs, and his crew chief Patrick Donahue was fined $25,000. Again, there was an issue with the spoiler. The car did pass inspection before going onto the racetrack. This modification was found pre-race, hence I believe the slightly slimmed down penalty. If they found an illegal spoiler post-race, that could be L2, maybe even L3 territory. As it stands though, a 20-point penalty is still a big hit for Kligerman, as he is locked in a heated battle for one of the final Xfinity Series playoff spots. This knocks him from plus 36 to only plus 16 above the Xfinity Series playoff cut line. Kligerman still has Sammy Smith between himself and the cut line, but Sammy Smith in a JRM car, Brandon Jones not too far back there. We know that Junior Motorsports is extremely fast at super speedways. Daytona this weekend, Atlanta coming up. Ryan Sieg nearly won at Texas. We know those cars are fast, and even a little further down, Anthony Alfredo, he's led laps at Daytona, has a couple of top 10s. Shoot, he finished third in the Xfinity race at Talladega earlier this year, so watch out. Heck, even my guy Brennan Poole there, he's not going to point his way in, but he was leading coming out of turn 4 at Talladega in the spring. So, man, this penalty for Parker Kligerman could potentially hurt. There are still 5 regular season races left for the Xfinity Series. Daytona this weekend, obviously, then Darlington, Atlanta, Watkins Glen, Bristol. So a road course, 2 super speedway style races, a short track, Darlington. Goodness me. Going to be a very intense stretch for Kligerman, for Sammy Smith, Sieg, and everyone in the Xfinity Series playoff picture. Before we go here, ahead of the Austin Dillon appeal ruling, I'm going to make a prediction as to how it's going to go. I think the penalty will stand. I don't expect the appeal panel to modify the penalty, certainly not in any significant way. See, NASCAR changed some of the wording last year in wake of Louvergate. Remember when Hendrick Motorsports was found guilty by the appeal panel, yet they reduced the vast majority of the penalty. NASCAR said, hey, you can't do that anymore. If you find that the defendant is guilty, you can modify the penalty, but you can't erase any portion of it. So the whole point of this appeal is to get their playoff eligibility back. That's an all or nothing call. You can't give half of their playoff eligibility back, right? Austin Dillon explained when he was on Marty and McGee last week that the whole point of this appeal is to regain playoff eligibility. He said last week, we deserve to be in the playoffs. We want to reverse that decision NASCAR has made to take our playoff eligibility away. We feel like we have a case to stand on. So when it's all or nothing, I think the odds are likely against the defendant in this case. Maybe Richard Childress Racing will get some of those 25 regular season points back. Maybe the spotter suspension will be reduced by a week, but I have a feeling they will be found guilty. NASCAR has a rule in their rule book. It's a very subjective rule that says they can penalize over aggressive driving. They rarely enforce that rule, but they do reserve that right. I'm sure RCR will point to past examples that weren't called and say, hey, there's been no past precedent set. Why are you using us as an example? I just don't think that's a winning argument. And because they are trying to fully reverse one call, I think the odds are stacked against them. But we'll find out here in a few hours. I'll come on the show, we'll react. Let's see what happens. But that's going to do it for this episode, y'all. Thanks for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe for more NASCAR content and commentary every single day, and a big thank you to my generous Patreon supporters as well. I will be at Daytona this weekend. Be sure to stop by the NASCAR Experience stage Friday at 4:30 p.m. I'll be doing a short live show with NASCAR driver Brennan Poole. Should be a lot of fun. Hope to see you there. Thanks for watching, folks. I will catch you in the next episode.